So today we've got part 2 of our customization of Earthrise Optimus Prime. This is Hobbies with Jose. Let's get started. Hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. It's great to have you back. I am looking forward to today because we're going to get some modifications done. It can certainly be one of the more rewarding steps of these modifications, so let's get started. Now first I'm going to start with the arms since they're a little bit involved with the cutting of the peg holes and filling them in with putty. So I'll grab my side cutters here and get started on cutting these pieces off. I am going to sand these down a bit before applying the putty. Now I didn't mention this in the first video, but I'm also going to be modifying Prime's ion blaster. Since I'm getting rid of some peg holes on Prime, I'm going to get rid of this extra peg here on the side and just try to have a more unified look for the gun. And I also don't plan on keeping it folded up in the back, so I plan on filling in this top section with some putty as well. It's now been about 24 hours, so let's check our handiwork. So that's pretty much it for the modifications. As for the Canon, I had some concerns only because of the amount of putty that I had to use on this section here. When you use so much, it can be hard to work with because it gets brittle, and as it dries it kind of tends to contract, but overall it turned out pretty good. Still a little bit kind of round on the top, but that's okay. I don't mind that one bit. And it's just a little bit rough on this side here, but that should look fine once it's painted in, so I'm not too worried about it. The peg that we cut out and filled in with putty, which I didn't even realize was going to be hollow, but I should have figured, that turned out pretty good. It looks relatively smooth. The arms overall turned out okay. There were some rivet details on this side that unfortunately had to be sanded down. I kind of needed the space to get this side nice and even too, but that's okay. And it does look a little bit rough behind the smokestacks. I didn't quite put enough to conform to the round shape. I could go back and add some more, but I don't want to take the time to do so. It doesn't look that bad, and it's behind, so they're not going to be too noticeable. And the holes that we drilled out on top look pretty good, nice and center. No major issues there. As for Prime's head, I had a tiny bit of a hard time getting in between this section here to sand it down, but overall it turned out pretty good. I may go back and sand it a bit more once I prime it up and see how it looks up on top, but overall not bad. So now before we actually start priming, we're going to go back and mask out sections that we don't want to get any paint on, mainly some joints. friction parts that are going to be rubbing up against each other, so we can avoid those parts from getting really tight and possibly even breaking. So we now have everything masked up and ready for primer, but it took longer than I thought, so I'm actually done for today. Next week though, we will start adding some color onto our piece, so I hope you can all join me for that. Thank you all so much for watching, and if you liked what you saw, you know what to do. Take care, everyone.